All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So Chandler and Dustin Poirier, man, that won't be a very big fight, said no one ever, and it looks like it's on, son. Looks like it's on. Chandler and Dustin, he said it on YouTube. I just texted him and confirmed that it looks like it's Poirier. And he didn't want the fight to begin with. He said he didn't want the fight to begin with, and now he says Poirier's the last one left. Dude, he's the only one in the top 5 that's not matched up. Conor is out, so it is what it is. And guess what? What I think Chandler is doing is drastically underestimating how big of a draw Dustin Poirier is. I think he's going to be pleasantly surprised to find out that his dance partner is an enormous draw now. Enormous draw. Now, before I get into this, I want to talk about you. And I'm being serious. This is not an ad. There's no advertisement here. I want to talk about you guys. And that's you and me and everyone else. Because here's the deal. People who like combat sports, if you love combat sports, basically it's pretty safe to say if you ever clicked on one of my videos, you are a huge combat sports fan. We're like, I don't know, what do you say? Like competitive people, kind of combative, competitive people. And people that you don't know, you look at them with a sideways eye, dude. Like, you know, you like go to a pool at a hotel and you know, some dude walks in like tatted up and like yoked out. Like your initial kind of look at him is you're like, it's this guy's fucking deal. And you're like, all right. Maybe I'll go make friends with him, or maybe I won't. Who's going to talk first? Who's going to talk first? I'm not going to initiate conversation unless he does. And then by the end, you're like, what's up, dude? Bro. It's just autopilot. It's just the way that we do things. It's a weird phenomenon, but I am very aware that I do that. And I know that you guys probably do it too, because all of you guys are probably very similar to me. And so when it comes to looking at my channel for the first time and you're looking at me like, who is this dude? So here's how we're going to do this. If this is your first time to the channel or you've only watched 1 or 2 of my videos, then this is the deal that you're going to make. If I make a coherent point in this video about the Chandler and Dustin Poirier fight that you're like, damn, I hadn't even thought about that, and it's a good point, you have to subscribe. If I make no good points, if you watch the whole thing and you're like, all of that was boilerplate, bro, like you're bringing nothing new to the table, then what you write down in the comments is nothing new to the table. And then you don't subscribe and you'll hurt my feelings deeply. But that's the deal. That's how we're going to meet at the pool, dude. We're going to do a little challenge between me and you. And by the way, for those of you who are avid viewers of my channel and you say to me every once in a while in the comments, you're like, I don't know, title was clickbait or whatever. I'm titling them like this aimed at new people to bring them into our community. We're just trying to get them to give me an opportunity to prove that I can add value to their MMA fandom experience. That's it. Okay, if they never click, they'll never know that I'm here. They never click and they never know I'm here, then they can't join the community and add to the conversation in the comments. So I'm doing it for you guys and myself, and I really mean that. Anyway, okay, so here's the deal. So like I said, Chandler initially did not want that fight, and the reason he didn't want it is because Chandler very specifically said he wanted his next fight to be a #1 contender fight. And in this case, he didn't think that Dustin Poirier was a #1 contender fight because Dustin had just lost Charles Oliveira. Now, what I have said about this, I will repeat again, which is that it's very rare for there to be an actual #1 contender fight where it's like these guys fight, winner fights for the title. That does happen sometimes, but generally it doesn't happen that way because there are so many moving parts when you get up to the top of the division and you're trying to figure out a title shot. Like as an example, right? Like as an example, if you had Leon Edwards and Masvidal fight in, like whatever last fight it was, and Leon Edwards smoked Masvidal, obviously he's going to slide into a title shot with Usman. If Masvidal fights Leon and knocks out Leon, is he going to get another title shot at Usman? No, because Usman's already beat him twice. So that's generally the kind of thing that you run into. And so in this case, even though Dustin is not in a #1 contender fight position, Chandler is. So if Chandler beats Dustin Poirier, he is in line to get a title shot. Now, here's the thing, though. You would assume, like, let's say that he dirt napped Dustin Poirier. You would say, oh, he's definitely getting the next title shot. And I'm not talking about the Conor wild card as it relates to the title picture. I'm talking, like, if he smoked Dustin Poirier, you're like, oh, yeah, he's getting the next title shot, especially if Charles wins, right? Especially if Charles wins. If Islam wins, it opens things up a little bit, but nonetheless, all the other guys are coming off losses. Chandler will be coming off 3 wins in a row, right? Or two wins in a row over top guys. And he almost beat Charles Oliveira. That's right, 2. Yeah. But nonetheless, if he knocked out, like you'd think that he's going to go right into a title shot. Here's the curveball. This is where the video gets interesting, okay? So forget about Conor. because Chandler might end up sliding into a Conor fight by pure like miracle happenstance. Because here's the deal, okay? Here's the deal. In the event that Chandler beats Dustin and Charles beats Islam, and after he beats Islam, he calls out Khabib, and Khabib agrees to come back and take that fight, which, if you guys think that's impossible, you are wrong. I have said this many times on the channel. I will repeat it again. If you think that that is an impossibility, that after Charles beats Islam, that he calls out Khabib in Abu Dhabi, after Islam, his protege, fails to meet the challenge, and then Charles kind of calls out their whole deal, like, because he's basically calling out their whole camp. Like, Islam's their guy. Islam is the dude from Dagestan that is carrying the mantle for Khabib. And if Charles finishes Islam, finishes him, and then he goes, see, paper champion. Khabib was a paper champion. These Dagestanis can't hang with Brazil. They can't hang with me. They can't hang. If Khabib would have stayed around until I fought him, this is what the result would have been then. And if you want to get some, Khabib, why don't you come get some unless you're scared, or keep coaching people from the closet. Say that in Russian and then actually, I don't think it matters what language he says it in. If Charles beats Islam, calls out Khabib, I will say my bet will firmly be on Khabib coming back. So in the event that did happen, right? And I realize some people are going to think that's a huge long shot. I just don't agree. If that did happen, then Chandler is in a weird spot because he would have been next in line. Who else would he fight? Whatever. And guess what that would line up perfectly with? Because here's exactly what will happen. Okay. If that happens and Khabib comes back and he fights Charles, and Conor just smoked Dustin Poirier, who do you think he's going to fight? And I'll tell you right now. I will tell you right now who he's going to fight. Conor. That's when they do the Conor fight. And there's multiple reasons for that. Michael Chandler gets a big payday. I mean, obviously, then it's an enormous fight for UFC, which is normally just the driver. But when it comes to these guys, it's about setting fights up. It's about not only what we get here, it's about what are we moving towards? What's the next big fight that we're setting up? And I can tell you right now that out of every fight that the UFC could have, out of every single fight the UFC could have, the one that they want has never changed. Has never changed. And if Khabib comes back to fight Charles, all of a sudden that fight is back in play, because then you have Chandler fight Conor, okay? And that is a number one contender fight right there. That's the real number one contender fight, where if Conor beats Chandler, he is getting a title shot. That's how they enable Conor to get a title shot, is they beat the guy who should have had a title shot. And if Khabib beats Charles, you actually get Conor versus Khabib 2, which is the fight the UFC would cut fingers off to get. That's the fight they want. But also, in the event that Khabib won and Chandler won, which might even be a better scenario in the long run for the UFC, because if Chandler beat Conor in like spectacular fashion, like, let's say he fought Conor and the end of that fight was Conor like unconscious tree, like, not like knocked out like Poirier, where like his leg went out and then he kind of just folded and wilted and then got punched a bunch of times and kind of lay there. I'm talking like unconscious tree falling down unabated, like Ferguson, like a highlight vicious knockout on Conor like no one's ever seen before. And then Chandler does the thing where he gets on the mic, like he does, gets on the mic and does his thing. I'm telling you, coming out of that, Chandler will be as big of a star as Conor. That's how good and charismatic Chandler is, dude. I really believe that he would be, I mean, maybe not quite there, but like you're talking here. If he did that, he would be right there. He would be that big of a draw. The problem, the reason why maybe that ends up being, better for the UFC is maybe he's got more. It's just about who has more events, right? And even if Conor took that knockout, he's still super insanely valuable. And then you basically have two guys like that, But anyway, it's neither here nor there. Bottom line is, the Poirier versus Chandler fight is a banger too. It's an absolute banger. A banger. I mean, those guys are going to stand in front of each other and they're going to bang it out, dude. And by the way, unless they do that fight in Abu Dhabi or like, somewhere overseas, I am 150,000% going to that fight. Absolutely, for sure. Now I realize I go to like all of them, so it doesn't seem like a big to-do. We're going to 277 next weekend. Sun sitting in the front again. But like, my thing now is when I know that there is a fight that has genuine like likelihood, not just like it could, any fight could be a big fight, but I mean like likelihood to turn into a war, like a real war with two guys that are at the absolute top of the division, to where I could potentially recreate the experience of watching Burns and Khamzat fight live. I will not miss those. Like, I won't miss them unless there's some reason that I can't go, because that is an experience that is like, Masvidal talks about like, fighting in the UFC is a drug. Like if no one's figured out how to duplicate it. That's why it's like, it's the most addicting drug there is fighting in the octagon. I absolutely believe that. I believe that 100%, because the feeling that I got just being in the stadium for the Burns and Khamzat fight was, like I said, keep in mind, I've been to a bunch of fights before, but once I started the streak, I went to 270, 271, 272, 273 is when this happened. And then 274, UFC Austin. So like, we're not talking like this is like my first, recent time going to a UFC fight. This was the fourth consecutive UFC event that I had been to. And that fight, the experience of watching it was so different that it's like, it's like, dude, you want more of it, dude. Like I want more of that. Like I want more of that. And if there was a fight like that, because it's so rare, dude, like it's so rare to get a fight where you have top guys, huge hype guys like Khamzat, or Chandler and DP, or like Nate and Connor in the second one, like just like fights like that where you have two top guys and then it be a war like that, like just an absolute bang out war. It's so rare. But man, we must have given them 9 consecutive standing ovations throughout the second and third round. And it was like the whole crowd is like in unison. Like it's like we're all like psychically connected, where it's not like there's no sign, it's like the it's not like the Jumbotron is like everyone stand up, like it's like a baseball game. It's not it. It's like everyone can feel it, dude. Like you're watching a thing and there's a moment in the fight where like all of us are all connected, like everybody's experiencing the same thing, and it's like it is. So yeah. And Chandler and Poirier 100% has legitimate, real possibility to be a fight like that. And I won't miss it. I will not miss it. Not to mention, dude, Chandler's my dude. And now me and Poirier are talking on Instagram because I'm making reels about his hot sauce, me and Gabrielle. And his hot sauce is fucking delicious, though. But he likes them. He thinks they're funny. So he sent me laughing emojis. Look at this fucking groupie ass bitch. Little groupie ass bitch. But anyway, so yeah, if I'm going to pick a winner of that fight, oof, man. That's a hard fight to pick, man. It's a really hard fight to pick. I don't know. I just want the fight to officially get booked and we'll move forward. Bottom line. But I'm excited that's going, it's going to be, listen, I'm telling you guys, like that fight's coming, dude. And also, let's give props to Dustin Poirier for what he did to make this fight happen. Chandler did not want the fight. Like straight up, that wasn't like a show. Chandler did not want the fight. Again, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I think he was miscalculating how big of a draw Dustin Poirier is, but he didn't want the fight, period. He did not want that fight. And Poirier goes and picks a fight with him in the crowd. You think that Dustin, you guys know Dustin Poirier. After the Connor said, your wife's in my DMs, he's like, I don't care. Like Dustin, seriously think about that, dude. Connor said to Poirier, your wife's in my DMs, baby. And Dustin's like, I don't care. He's like, I don't care. I don't care about that guy. And I was very critical of that. I was like, why wouldn't you take that and tell him it's a blood feud forever? Like, just build that fight for whenever you guys, But that's what Dustin's like. He's like, I don't care. But then something Chandler did, like, got him to the point where he's like, I saw him in the crowd and I just exploded. I feel like Poirier, now he understands, like, the gravity that, like, he can bring with him in terms of attention on things. Like, He's a huge star now. He's an enormous star, and he's using that to his advantage. Like literally that situation right there. What he did there is him knowing, understanding that his position in the fight business is different now. Like, he's a big swinger, dude. He goes and he gets in some yelling match with Michael Chandler. He's likely to get that fight, and he did. And Chandler didn't. Or he's going to. And Chandler didn't want that fight. That is half this business. That is half this business. Go pick a fight with the guy that you want to fight with. Don't do anything crazy. Don't get arrested. But get on camera in a yelling match with him. And guess what? You're going to force his hand. Now in Chandler's case, I think it partially just has to do with that, Dustin's in the top 5 and he's the only one that's not booked. But again, I've said it to him and I'll say it again. I genuinely think he was miscalculating that. Because it is a number 1 contender fight for him, and Dustin Poirier is a huge fight. It's an enormous fucking fight. Nothing in the world can do more for your career than beating up Conor McGregor if you're in the UFC. It's as simple as that. So, however you assess Dustin Poirier previous, this is a different dude now. This is a different dude. A completely different dude. He's a huge, huge star. I told you guys before, at 271, they go through, here, TJ Dillashaw's here, or whatever. I don't remember. I've seen him at a couple. I actually don't think he was at the Houston show. But whatever, this guy's here, and the crowd's like, all right, look who it is. DP got up in there. He got a better response than Derek Lewis in Houston. Anyway, so that's what I got. Remember the deal that we made, you guys. You have to subscribe now if you enjoyed the video or I said something. And then now, if I touch on nothing, it's all common sense. You had thought through all the Khabib stuff, and then you thought through that, Conor coming back would give them the opportunity to set up the Khabib and Conor fight. If you thought through all that stuff, if you'd already thought, then yeah, to just write nothing new. And then just send me a clip of you having talked about if Khabib comes back after Charles beats Islam, then they'll do a number 1 contender fight with Conor versus whoever he fights against, because that gives him the opportunity to potentially set up a Khabib versus Conor too. Go ahead, just show me that, and then you can not subscribe. Anyway, love you guys. Peace.